Guys, let's talk about the new White Magneto and his pre-fight ability. So here's an interesting fight. So we've got 6.2.3, the Omega Red boss has Limber. Okay, now if I take in this White Magneto and there's Icarus. Icarus here, you basically you need to have heavy attacks to take off the Furies, or else you're going to degen. With Limber, it's a pain in the ass. So Magneto has his pre-fight ability where you use 2 of his persistent charges, and then hashtag metal champs such as Dr. Octopus or Guillotine 2099 are going to apply passive stuns instead of a debuff stun. And turns out the passive stuns are not applicable to Limber. So as long it's a little tricky to get the passive stun, it doesn't click the same. I almost have to press a little harder with it. Feels like I have to press harder a little longer to get it. So you'll see the first couple times there's a parry, but it doesn't apply the passive stun, but there it goes. And once you start getting the passive stuns and you get into a little bit of a rhythm, so there is no Limber. So there's nothing to worry about here. So I can go in with my usual parry heavy method with Dr. Octopus, and I can continuously get my heavies off to take off the Furies from Icarus. Now, it doesn't always work, which is a little frustrating. Usually when I parry, it's almost like it's a very subtle tap, and it works like every time. Here, it is not working every time, but it is definitely, when it does work, it is absolutely doing the job. Like, I don't even think I get the solo here because I get clipped by it not working. But the best, I don't have a clip of it, but I put up the images after the fight. There's a path where you need to bring in 3 mutant champs, and you need to, there's a Korg with Limber and Caltrops. So you need Bleed Immune, which White Magneto now is, and you need, and he's got Limber, so you need to be able to apply, I tried using White Magneto with the passive stuns, and of course Icarus, and it's a regular Korg, so White Magneto is energy damage. I didn't go back in and record that fight yet, but I showed the screenshots, but he was absolutely the answer to all those problems with that Korg in the same chapter here. So every time there's a boss here, this is just such an easy, straightforward fight with the passive, like the pre-fight ability with the passive stuns. So again, it works the same. You use it once, I can go back in with Guillotine 2099 and easily finish off the fight. And which is, again, the parry. There's a parry, but it doesn't apply the passive stun. So when it does, it works, but it's very frustrating still to use. But if you get used to it, it's definitely worthwhile to try. And then after this, I went in to test it out in Labyrinth of Legends to see if it would bypass the Limber in Labyrinth, and it absolutely does. And I took Guillotine 2099 against, I built up the charge against Star-Lord, and then you'll see we're going to go in to a very difficult fight. So here after this one, just to show you guys, here's what I mean by there's this Korg in 6.2.3 with Caltrops, dulled, enhanced abilities, and Limber. And White Magneto uses pre-fight. He's a hashtag hero, so it works for him, and he was absolutely the answer. Now, here we go into Labyrinth, and one of the more difficult fights that you're going to find in Labyrinth is Agent Venom, because he can shrug off your parries, and you don't even have a bunch of parries. So, you got to really end up going in with a Incinerate immune champ like Iceman, or someone who can shrug off the debuffs like an Aegon or Colossus after his buff. So here I went in with Guillotine 2099. I had built up to the 100 combo. Now, we did not get the solo here, but you can get a great example of how easily you could get the solo, and how, normally Agent Venom can shrug off your parries, not with the pre-fight. Here, every time you do get it, he cannot shrug it off. So, you know, he thinks, oh, can't shrug that one off. So it's definitely, it's one of those frustrating fights where you have to, you know, you're passing back the incinerates, and there I didn't do it fast enough. You know, I haven't done this fight in a while, so this was just, you know, something to test it out. I think I did do it with Aegon when I did do. I think I did it with maybe with Aegon with one account, and Iceman maybe helped me with and Aegon with the other account. I can't remember, but here you can see that this is pretty invaluable. Like anytime there is a difficult limber fight, this pre-fight ability is just completely ridiculous when it works. So there's a bunch of parries, but nothing happens. But then once you get I don't know, it feels like it's a weirder or harder press with your finger to almost get it to stick, or maybe holding it a little bit longer. But once it works, it's pretty awesome. So I don't get the solo here, but you can see the rest of the fight, and this is definitely one of the more difficult ones. And I hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you next time.